Hello and welcome. My name is Emily DeSimone and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us for the 24th annual Garden State Film Festival. This year we have over 200 films and film-centered events from various countries, all happening across 9 venues from March 26th to the 29th of this year. Today I am here with Stefano DeFrey, the director of the documentary A Slice of the Family Business. Stefano, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you today?
I am so happy to be part of the Garden State Film Festival. Love the programming, love the vibe, love being in Asbury Park. I love the festival and the programming. I'm honored, as you can tell, in my drum and my solo drum beginning to be in this lineup.
Well, Stefano, I'm so happy to have you here with me today. I'm loving your energy. I would love for you to introduce, yourself and your film to our audience.
Yes. So Stefano DeFrey, Slice of the Family Business, a story about an Italian-American inventor, manufacturer, running the company of Formaggio. The person that is the head of it is Anthony Mangello and his daughter Anna. And Anthony has built this business into $1 million cheese empire of cheese manufacturing products that are at Whole Foods, Kroger, Costco, Sam's Club, of mozzarella, and wants to retire and sell the business. He has a daughter who has been part of the business her whole life, feels interconnected to it, and thinks that she's got what it takes to take over the family business, and drama ensues. And that is the premise for A Slice of the Family Business.
All right. I will say I did watch it so that I could interview you and know what it is we're talking about. And I loved this documentary. I'm Italian myself, Italian American myself. So there was just so much going on that I was like, mozzarella. Like I love when people, at least for me, I love when people say it the right way. But I mean, not everyone who's, those who are not Italian will say mozzarella. And
We feel bad for people that are not Italian. We feel bad.
I know.
I feel bad.
Mozzarella, prosciutto, So that said, though, how did you come up with the inspiration for writing this story? And how does this relate to you being an Italian American?
Yeah, I knew the family because I'd worked up with them on another project, another film called Stolen Dough. And it's actually, it was more on Anthony, the head of the company Formaggio. He's the father figure, and I got to know him over 3 years. And over those 3 years of working with him on a separate project, I got to see the family dynamics, specifically the Italian-American family dynamics that was very similar to other Italian-American families. And I could understand. I could viscerally understand from my own self being raised by my grandparents who were from Cordignano in the Veneto region in Treviso. My father was born in Treviso, and I could see that it's not just a company, it's a legacy. It's about the legacy that you're passing down to your children. And sometimes when you're trying to pass down a legacy, you're afraid of it being destroyed or not going in the direction that you wanted, and sometimes it's better to have a clean break and just selling it and then taking care of your kids. And I could see Anthony Mangello, who is the lead character with Anna, they're the co-leads of wrestling with these ideas, right? He was really struggling to, do I take care of my daughter? Do I take care of my kids? Do I let her try to run the company? Do I test her? How do I test her? And do I actually believe or consider that she's capable of it? I love these questions. And I, as an Italian American, I could understand these questions deeply. And I could sort of see a lot of the family dynamics of the way that they communicate things, sort of the pressure that would happen. And I that's what drew me into writing the story.
That's awesome. I mean, I will say, like, when I was watching it, um, I noticed your humor throughout, like, with the editing. Like, there's
Yeah,
one point where you have, the father and the daughter, and it goes, "This is Italian communication," or "This is the way Italians
just
communicate,"
communicate.
and it was hilarious to me that I almost had to, like, do, like, a double take just to make sure this wasn't a mockumentary, and it is a documentary, and it's just I just coming from a household myself, maybe all Italian Americans are like this, where it's just like that ball busty like humor. I almost thought this was scripted
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
of how. Yeah, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
know, I know. I mean, I think that the cutting each other off, like you just
Mhm,
witnessed right now, is a just a classic. And I think, and it's not personal, and it's just
mhm,
everyone is just talking very loud. Even the production meetings are like that, and I wanted to
mhm.
incorporate some of that in the film. You know that these people are very real people, and this is how that they are. So I'm going to throw the ball back to you because I wanted to say that that's totally intentional, and I want to get a character. I wanted to get the audience to feel that
Mhm.
that sense, and that I am playing with the lightness of it, because I can
Yeah.
see that this is most people. Many people don't communicate that way, and they consider it kind of loud or rude
Mhm.
or whatever.
It's our way.
It's our way.
So what was this filming process like for you though? So you're saying that you've worked with this family before and now you're coming in. I would love to hear maybe a little bit about like your background. Is this your first documentary for our audience, or how is maybe this different from what you've done before?
Yeah. So, um, first documentary that I ever did was a documentary called "The Girl Who Cannot Speak" that
Mhm.
played at the Emerging Filmmakers program at the Cannes Film Festival in 2018, and then ended up getting licensed to NBC.com. This is before
Ooh.
Peacock was an app, and so it was on NBC.com for several months, and it was a social impact documentary about a women's shelter, so much heavier stuff. And then the next documentary that I did was a film about young activists in America. So I did two political docs back to back, and at that point my brain was just like it's just so much energy and to absorb, and so much of our attention in our daily life is sort of spent on these things. And I thought, you know what, I there's already so many people covering so many political topics that I really want to focus on something that I think is can bring some a different perspective, some joy, some entertainment.
Mhm.
And I then wrote a documentary based on the true story of Anthony Mangello, who had patented stuffed crust pizza and went into business with Pizza Hut, and they were interested in signing basically a royalty deal to launch stuffed crust pizza. They cut him out of
Mm.
the deal, and he
Wow.
files a $1 billion lawsuit against them. And this was the biggest lawsuit in the 90s in food patent history.
Hmm.
And that documentary had gotten funding from the Russo brothers, Italian American film forum, and the Russo brothers, who are well known for their contributions to the Marvel universe. And that documentary is called Stolen Dough. You can see it
Mm.
on Apple TV, and that was basically a film about stuffed crust pizza and the history of it, and the real inventor of it. And that's how I first met Anthony. That documentary is a feature film, and so very very intensive. And so in the process of finishing that and getting to know Anthony, like I was saying earlier, in the family, I thought there was another story, because I'd become so close to him, and then really going into more on the contemporary side of his life. So for me, this I'm trying to tell stories that are relatable,
Mhm.
family driven stories, that films that inspire a human connection. um, there's so much disconnects that I really want to do that, and that sort of feel like they're stories that can inspire human connection.
The inspiration for human connection. I mean, my next question was going to be, what is it that you are looking to say to your audience with this documentary? Like, what is it you want them to pull from it?
I think the first thing is that families are the parents and children have different ways of seeing the world, and they're going to have natural conflicts that happen all the time, and as it should be with money as well, and as it should be with running a business as well. And so the running of a business is hard in general when you have people, but can be even more emotionally challenging when you have your kids in there and you disagree with your kids about real fundamental aspects about running a business. So that's the first thing. And I think that, as the baby boomers have retired and are retiring, onto Gen X, onto to myself as a millennial, and then to Gen Z, there's different generational ways of looking at business, values, marketing, and I love to play in those worlds. I love to see different values from different age groups and age brackets of people who all have something to contribute and all can learn from each other, but they're not necessarily right because they're older. Sometimes they are. But I love to see that. I love to see that intergenerational play, because, and this goes back to my background, I was raised, I after 15 years old, I ended up around 15. My parents had to move. It's kind of a long story, but moved, and I ended up living with my grandparents. And so from 15 to 24, I was living with my grandparents who were in their 80s, and I was like a 16-year-old kid, and there was a 70-year age gap between us. So embedded in my life is always this like love and deep respect for people that are like much older than me.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think about that life. I think about my grandparents all the time. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with me and with our audience today. Will I be meeting you in person at the festival this year?
Yes, I will be there all the days, all 3, 4 days, whether it's 3.5, whatever the extra days are. I will be there at the Garden State Film Festival. I love it. I love the venues, and I love the programming. And I'm happy to just to see you guys. I love to see the other filmmakers, and I will be there all those days.
Oh, Stefano, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure to speak with you over Restream this way, and I'm so excited to meet you in person. To our audience, A Slice of the Family Business will be screening at the Cranford Theater on Saturday, March 28th from 5:45 to 7:20 p.m. We hope to see you at the Garden State this year with over 200 films screening across 9 venues, including hosting parties, panels, events, and more. Get your tickets at gsff.org/tickets. Stefano, again, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm so excited for your film to screen.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to see you guys. I'm doing a drum roll as you're running through the
Boom!
URL, and people are getting their tickets. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your time.
Of course. Okay, bye.